Yeah. But yeah, but let's read that. I don't know if that's weird and she's actually one is a hard worker. But when I told her I just to that get it. There's so she's already
How are you visualizing in a way that becomes task effective, so a work line, the decision maker can make a better, more adaptive.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's get started. Welcome to a. Do you need to count down that? No, you're good. Okay. Welcome to another 1 Million Cups, Sparks PGC 1 Million Cups entrepreneurial gathering. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. As always, we appreciate it. We have 2 dynamic presentations today, and so we're looking forward to your input, feedback, and support. All right, so if you haven't been here before, this is kind of our values. 1 Million Cups was started by the Kaufman Foundation, philanthropic organization based out of Kansas City. It supports entrepreneurs all over the country. We are one of 200 affiliate chapters. There's over 10,000 businesses in the chapters. So it's not just us. While we support Prince George's County, if there's not support that you can find in this community, we can connect you to folks in San Diego, Florida, Detroit, wherever you need support. Okay? But we try to this group is super smart, and not everybody is here. Like, people love to trickle it away. So, but it's super smart, super and supportive. We're curious, generous, disciplined, and energized. So that's kind of our values. So we have 2 presenters. They will have 6 minutes to present their business and the challenge that they're facing. You will have 30 minutes to engage with that presenter. Okay, and these are kind of the rules of engagement. So brevity and discipline. We'll track the time of the presenter as well as your feedback, so we stay on time. We want radical honesty. You're not helping the presenter if you don't say no. All right, you want it. Whatever question you have, bring it to the presenter. That's what they're here for, and that's what you're here for. Public accountability. So if we have a section called offers and commitments during your time of engagement, and if you make a commitment, make an offer, we want to hold you accountable to that. And then lastly, offers are great. We're all business owners or in the entrepreneurial space. We love to give advice, right? And so advice is cool, but if you can make a warm introduction, make a connection, hold that person's hand to help them get to the next step, that would be even better. All right, and I think, let's jump right into it. Keisha, come on up. Let's show her a warm welcome. You've been here several times, so you know the deal.
Yeah. You know what I meant to do? What? Was kind of do the shoulder line. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
But you know,
Malcolm is strict about the time limit.
Yeah. I can do it.
what's the so this is right to the
Okay. And then I'll just switch.
so when you're ready, just call me.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm gonna jump right in. Never mind too. Here we go. So I'm our company, right? So I'm an attorney by trade, and about 7 years ago, I pivoted and was like, you know what? I'm gonna build a network that I wish always existed. So I started with building a Black lawyer directory. I really wanted to take someone's problem and allow them to discover what their legal issue was. Oftentimes, we're always lifing, right? And oftentimes there's legal embedded in our lifing, whether it's discrimination at work, somebody not treating you right, not getting paid right, you feel like something's wrong, you can't put your finger on it, there's probably something there, right? Your mortgage company isn't dealing with your paperwork right, they're trying to charge you more, there's probably something in that contract that's there that you need to discuss. Whether it's a family issue, whether it's elders in your community who are aging out, there's always a legal issue that I see, and I really frame it as justice, right? I see justice in everything, and I want folks to be able to obtain their justice. And so I built Justice Connection around access to legal resources shouldn't depend on wealth, right? Right now, I think sometimes people feel like if I don't have $10,000 and I can't hire an attorney and I kind of figure this out on my own, right? So I wanted to close that gap. Too many business owners are also signing things without understanding what they're signing. I'm talking about everything from your brick and mortar commercial lease to working with vendors, bringing in partners, maybe you've got a co-founder. We're always working, whether it's a written agreement that you sign your name to, or even an oral contract, right? You and I have decided this is how we're gonna do it, and I've now bound myself to something. And so too many of us are signing without having any understanding, and I believe technology can fundamentally change that access to justice. Just like many of you feel like technology can shift, right, in your own industries as well. So Justice Connection is a legal resource platform. It educates and empowers people in their personal and professional lives with legal information, legal guidance, and easy connections to local attorneys. So that's where it's been an evolution. Anybody else here, an entrepreneur, evolving as it goes, right? And so it's been evolving. And right now, I'm really committed to meeting people where they are. Right, if anything in my evolution that has taught me is meeting people where they are as opposed to trying to bring people to where I think they need to be. And so that's where I built this contract education tool. I call it the legal layer, right? So our contract education tool is all about really focusing on the business community at this juncture, where you can upload a contract and get a plain language breakdown of what it says, what you're agreeing to, what the other party's going to do, what you're going to do, and so you can take a deeper dive. I'm going to try to bring it up because I realize I can put it in the presentation, and you don't want to hear me talk yet, you want to see the thing, right? So one of our biggest challenges is really, it's super early in the process, right? So I put it out to about 100 business owners, got some feedback, some initial quirks and errors to be able to work through. But this is also years worth of talking with entrepreneurs about what they wish they knew, what they wish they had, as it relates to the contracts they sign. And so it's really about, which I know is very familiar, it's reaching the right people, right? The folks who are ready, who have contracts before them, and who also can see that value. So when I talk to folks, you know, people will never tell you to your face sometimes, like, this idea sucks, right? They're like, okay, I see where this is going, I can use this, right? Until you put a price tag on it and you send them their email, and then everybody's like, I'll be back to this, right? So it's really about, I think, our ideal users are those small to medium-sized businesses, and when I say small, I mean one person, right? And you're sitting there and you're trying to figure it all out your own, so that you can have some other resource to vibe something off of and not be working on, especially legal documents in a silo, right? So, and nonprofit leaders, I find nonprofit leaders are also in that same boat. And so what we've tried so far, this is like sort of initial outreach to build out who I think our ideal users are. Is anybody here a business owner? I do that. Right? And so, how many of you have a lawyer who works for you full-time? Full-time lawyer. All right, I see you. Not bad. We can talk later, right? Everybody got eyes on him. That business is doing very well, right? Because the word's cost a lot, right? People oftentimes are like, before you even talk to a lawyer, you think it's gonna cost you too much, right? And so, really thinking also about who are some well-funded partners that we can work with so that their funding access, so that you can have, through your relationship, access as well, right? So a couple of banks we've talked to, we're still in some initial conversation, some initial chambers of commerce. I find chambers of commerce are not well-resourced. You'd think they would be, but they're not, right? Because they're just volunteer-led. So, and it's been very early, so I admit that. Like, I've not hit all of the folks, which is why I'm looking for your beautiful brains to help me through that. As you can imagine, it's always hard to like get somebody to answer your emails. I think I write very well drafted emails. It does not matter, right? You still have to follow up with folks. And I think well-funded partners are essential. I think legal services tends to be a nice to have to most folks and not a must have. And oftentimes it's that gap that trips folks up, right? It's when you're like, I'm gonna wait till I franchise. I'm gonna wait till I make it. I'm gonna wait till right, that you get a lawyer. And it's really that journey that you need to have someone to tap into. And I'm not saying everybody needs to hire someone. I get on a tangent, you see I'm going all the way over to the left, but like, I want you to know that legal resources are within your grasp, and the contract aspect is one of the most critical aspects because you're binding yourself to an agreement, and you've got to know what's in there. Because if you don't know, it's not an excuse, right? You've already bound yourself. So that's why I built this contract tool to really help out with that. So the big community conversation is what are ways we should pursue reaching out to business owners like yourself, and what are key points we should note in our outreach to these partners, the big enterprise partners and individual business owners. So I'm going to pull up the actual thingamajig so that you can see it for yourself and get an idea. Like, once you see it, maybe you'll be like, okay, maybe I do have an idea for this, right? And so the idea is for you to understand your contract before you sign it. So the legal aid. For LinkedIn, we're on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn together.
It's already, it's on that screen.
Sorry. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So it's very simple, and I built it very simple, right? One question you gotta ask or answer. Did you prepare this contract, or no, I'm receiving it? Either you're the writer, which is different. If you wrote this, then it needs to be drafted for you. If you're signing it, you need to know what you're getting into. Every contract is not, if you're not signing it, if you didn't write it, it's not written for you. Let me be very clear. Any contract you sign that you did not write is not written for you. Even the person who is writing it for you is not writing it for you, they're writing it for them, right? Especially if they have an attorney writing. So it's something to keep in mind, and that's one of the biggest advantages or perspectives that's important for the analysis of your contract. This is a contract education tool. I will not say it is legal advice, right? Nothing but a lawyer, no one but a lawyer can give legal advice, and I'm already telling you on the fine line of that. Otherwise, lawyers will come for you, right? It's why you don't see any of these types of products out there, because lawyers are usually the ones who create it, and lawyers don't want to create something for you to go to that instead of them, right? So it's a fine line in why I'm saying it's an education tool. It's not advice. It won't tell you sign this, don't sign that. It will say, so you paste it or you upload it, and then it analyzes your contract. It says, this is what this is what outlines what you're responsible for. This is what the other party is responsible for. The red flags, yellow flags, green flags, and then most importantly, I think, questions you should ask, right? Questions to consider, whether you go to an attorney or whether you're like, I'm smart enough, I can figure out all these questions and negotiate on my own behalf. After
Contact information. So let's shift to clarifying questions. All right, so I think we got 8 minutes for that.
I should have put the LinkedIn QR code, but you see who I brought with me today, so ran out of time.
Clarifying questions. Who has
Any clarifying questions? Yes, please.
Earlier you said that when it got to price, the responsive rate of your emails would go down. What is the price for this?
So it's not that the price was shifting the responsiveness, it was just, hey, are you interested? And it just had a hard time getting traction, building up those conversations for the partnerships. The price though, thank you for asking that question. So I'm looking at it being $9.99 per session and then $96 for an annual subscription. That would include like 20 sessions.
So, I have 3 questions. Per session, is that just per contract that's included in the
Yes.
system? And then, in the debate versus the contract versus protection, this is more contract assistance.
Tell me what you mean.
So, you said earlier that it's, like a legal layer that helps the businesses translate and get into their own contracts. But with, of course, that caveat that legal advice can only be given by a lawyer, is your business direction more contract assistance, or is your advertising primarily towards protect your business using my website and create your own protection for yourself? Is it kind of offense or defense, I guess, is the question I'm asking.
I guess I would consider like getting contract review or contract education, both.
Okay.
Because it depends on it depends if you're preparing it or it depends if you're signing it. And it depends on what part of the process. So I would even run contracts that you've already signed through there, right? Just to get an idea of, let me get another perspective around what I think. I might have already signed this, thought what I'm getting into, run it through to see if I'm aligned or if there are other things that maybe I can consider. So that might be considered defense because you've already signed it maybe, I guess, and then offense if you're preparing it and you want to make sure that you have it as anybody's welcome to do that. But I would always caution that because you're never getting, it doesn't have the totality of the circumstances most likely, right? And all of that matters in redrafting anything or renegotiating. And once you sign something, depending on what the contract says, it may allow for it, it may not, it may be an uphill battle. Some of that might just be more relationships and actual contractual languages. There is an offer that comes up after you do a session to have a 30-minute deep dive with me one-on-one, right? So I am offering that because I found that people now have other questions, right? I'm presenting questions, and so being able to speak with an attorney at a much lower cost just on that issue alone. And then I also on my website offer legal clarity sessions, which are one-on-one deep dives that allow someone to, usually it's not just on one contract, it's on a myriad of things that we explore. It's something that I recommend for folks who don't have legal counsel and they're looking for some legal insight. So we talk about everything from intellectual property, protecting your brand, contracts you may have already signed, things you're like, hey, I want to hire, what should I consider? I'm looking to sign this. So there may be all these questions that you have that have piled up until the legal clarity session allows folks to have that one-on-one safe space, comfortable, confident, confidential conversation.
All right, I know it's important to do questions, but how does your business maintain, or I guess what's the relationship with your business and the businesses you listed on, I think it's like 4 or 5 that you were partnered with?
So those are just folks that I've like done some, I have relationships where I've done workshops with them. They already have business communities, and so looking to say, hey, maybe there's a member benefit, maybe there's a service angle that comes through a partnership. But I find that folks who, rub 2 sticks together often are it's hard pressed for them to enter into meaningful partnerships because they're still focused on keeping their own lights on. So that's why I think those haven't made a lot of traction. So not the chambers. Yeah. Oh.
It feels like you have like two different personas, like you want to run the small businesses and that's the persona. But like, it doesn't sound like they're the actual buyers of the product, because they're actually for the product. And I'm thinking maybe that when you discussion on who is the buyer. Last time you had like the Chamber of Commerce and you had some others, like I think the bank up there. And they can potentially be the buyers of the product to get to small businesses. So I think it might be worth like exploring like how they buy product, how they buy services, and what that is. And also exploring with their customers how they would use this product. So the small business owner, I would use this product, but I'm also trying to think about other different ways I can use this product or tell them about the product.
Yes, so that is exactly,
I know.
so that's exactly like why I'm here, right? Is because I want some support or insight or thoughts around making those connections, right? So I think that they can buy the product on like an enterprise level and be able to say, hey, if you're a member of our bank, so this is the idea I had, if you are a client of our bank, then you have access to this as a benefit. And they cover it on the back end, so that you're banking with them and they're offering this legal education tool, this contract education tool. So that's why I was pursuing the banks. I also think that it's definitely direct to consumer. I'm just also trying to not be just in one bucket and have like potential enterprise partnerships, but also thinking about I'm also open to that feedback around what do individual business owners think, hey, if you craft this or you market it this way or you share more about how it could help in this scenario, that would be most applicable. Those are things that, I want to make sure that I take notes on too.
So Keisha,
Yeah.
so,
Is that?
It's the same.
yeah, Nicole didn't ask a question. So the question I had was like, you have small businesses, but I think you have two models.
Yep.
You have two business models, direct to consumer and an enterprise model.
Yes.
But I think to Nicole's point, like, I think there needs to be a little bit more done to understand what type of direct to consumer, because you don't want to direct to consumer that can't afford it. They may need it, but they can't afford it. So what is that small business owner that would actually use this and keep it and make it sticky for them? So that would be my question.
Yeah, so,
One kind of add a follow-up with that. So to that, is it going to help a small business make a decision, or is it to determine what type of lawyer that we need?
definitely not the latter, right?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Is it gonna help you make a decision, or is it gonna help you decide what kind of lawyer to hire? Right, so the latter question is a whole different approach, right? I think it's another good question. I mean, I definitely see the large landscape of help that people need in this industry, like without an attorney. So that's why I say that's something very different. This is like just for small businesses who are signing contracts and need and would like some additional sort of legal insight into what they're really getting into. I definitely see this as, two paths, direct to consumer and direct to enterprise. Your question around who is ideal, I would say it's someone who you are not ideal. If you have a lawyer in-house, a lawyer's not going to use this, right? Lawyer's like, I do it myself, right? But everybody knows you don't have a lawyer, what are you doing right now? Right now, what I call you riding dirty.
It's still a nuance though, because it may not be that you need a lawyer all the time.
Right, totally.
Right? You just may need it for that contract.
Right. That's what this is, just for that contract.
But those are two different people. You know what I mean? So
No.
someone who needs the contract, like we talked about, like I have a deal that's coming up, I need somebody to look at this right now.
Yeah.
Right? Versus I need someone to look at sort of my legal approach to everything.
Yes, those are different.
Yes. And so like,
This is for the former.
Okay.
So the thing that I showed you on the screen is just for, put a contract in, get out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's really what I was coming to present on, is that. I think I might have clouded by giving all of my
Right. That's what
Shazam around the legal world, right?
Yeah.
But really, it's around the legal layer of that contract education tool, yes.
Hey Keisha, sorry I missed your presentation. Great to see you. We've met. I work with District Legal with Deanna, so we met at the Christmas party a couple years ago. Really like what you're doing. Question. Really like what you're doing, and I think one of the things to really maybe help with the identity question and really your business model and segment, are you a technology company or are you an advocacy company? Like, that's really what I'm trying to determine. Are you focused on the advocacy or the education? Is that your MVP? Or are you a technology company that's actually looking to maybe turn this into a widget someday where it can be on somebody's website?
I love that question. Because you probably identified like my soul,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So I am a technology company who does a lot of like advocate, like I'm very much on, and I think the advocacy piece, I try to let a lot of that go, but there's a lot that has to be included around advocacy, even in the legal tech space. Because most folks don't know what they need a lawyer for or what kind of lawyer they need. And so then people just don't engage at all. So my experience has been like, at the very least, contracts are something that is very tangible, it's in their hand, they know it's a legal document, right? And so it's a pain point that, to meet people where they are right there. So that's why I chose to like really delve into that space. But when I started like 7 years ago with Justice Connection, it was very much like we're legal tech, right? The tech wasn't where it is now back then, so I'm able to sort of dive more into the tech space. And so back then I was doing more of the advocacy piece that you might be familiar with. And I've also moved away from the lawyers.
I saw that.
The worst. Right? Lawyers are the best. They're the best, don't get me wrong, right? But when it comes to access to justice, I realize that I can't depend on one lawyer to meet all of your needs, right? And that's where developing the legal tech has become essential. That's why the contract education tool is just a one shot. Hey, come in here, put your contract, and get some feedback. I'd love to hear too, in any of the feedback, if that $9.99, if you're like, hey, that's not affordable to me, or oh, that's too low, it doesn't sound right. Because I've been sort of going back and forth with that as well.
I think it's a bit more nuanced than that. I think my insight / question is around what Nicole said and Malcolm said. I think it's two things. I think it's an affordability issue, and I also think it's where the person is in their journey. So if someone is really new, their biggest pain point is not a contract, right? I mean, there's some other legal things, more around robustness, around the actual formation of the company that I think an earlier stage company is focused on, because we're not ready to really start contracting. And I say that because Adam and I had a conversation yesterday, right? Who's a member of this community, who has a business. And so and I'm not an attorney, but when I said to him, I was like, hey, do you have an EIN? Do you have, and I said, that's something you might want to think about as you're providing services to people, because it could be, you know, if you don't have some sort of shield, if you will, you could be putting yourself in a bad position. Now, obviously, I'm hiring Adam because I know him, and I think I have a pretty decent reputation. I'm not going to try to, you know, do anything harmful to him or his business. But I think that's not a contract thing. That's a like, how do you create an, you know, how do you make sure that when you're providing services to somebody, which I guess is on some level contractual, but it's not a contract. You know what I mean? It's like you're agreeing to provide services. How does he protect himself from exposure? And then how do I, as a consumer, make sure that I'm getting what I promised, right? And so it's a bit nuanced, right? And I don't know that Adam isn't, and I can't speak for him, but I don't know that $9.99 is something he can make an investment in when he's really just trying to get started. Like he's really just trying
I'm sorry, $9.99.
Oh, you're saying $9.99.
I was waiting for you to.
Period, after the first line, sorry, $9. For one session. I was like,
I think everybody thought you were saying $1,000.
And for extra clarification, it is $96 for the year,
For the year,
up to 20 sessions.
up to 27.
That's
So
what
remember I
I'm-
said 96.
So given my example, Keisha, would Adam be a client, or would he could potentially Adam be a client? Because he's not somebody that's doing large contracts with other companies right now.
So
He's
the thing is that people
not yet. Good job, Adam.
So that's exactly where people get tripped up, is thinking, I'm not big yet, I'm not making millions of dollars.
He's not a B2B, he's not necessarily a B2B business yet.
But
So that's what my point is everything. So when you say, it's a contract.
Okay.
You're developing a contract, now, whether you decide to put it to paper or not, it still makes it a contract.
But do people get that? Do people understand that? And so
No.
is-
Yeah.
Right, so
You
is
just
there,
didn't understand it when you were.
right, so is there an educational component to your sales process that explains, hey,
That's different.
if you agree to,
What you just
it's
described.
different, no, hear me out.
Yeah.
That's not the product, but you might have to offer that for people to get why they need your product. You see what I'm saying?
But that is a different, I hear you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important realm that needs some help and education. That's not what this product is.
But the problem is the people who need it don't understand that they need it.
I hear you. But I have to, this is where there's very little folks in this space. So I feel that there isn't a lot of support out there. My recommendation, I'm trying to meet folks where they are, right? Would be Adam needs a legal clarity session. He needs, and you do too, we overdo anyways, right? So that you take a deep dive with a lawyer one time, right? And you can do it as many times as you want, but it's $497, period, 00 cents. Right, it's $497, that's one-on-one, that's the legal clarity for your business to have like an overview. This legal layer contract education tool is really just, I've got a contract and I need some help.
I get it, but you're providing a service that he doesn't actually need. He
But it's
needs
not-
the $497 and he
Right.
can't afford it. You're offering a much lower price for something that he doesn't need yet.
I get it, but then Adam, then it's not for him,
Yeah.
it's for someone
So
else.
Keisha, but if he has like creating an LLC
Yeah.
or S corp, can he put that operating agreement in the
Yes.
tool? Okay.
You can put the operating agreement, I wouldn't recommend it. You don't need to. Operating agreements can be very template, right? This is again, why you need to have a one-on-one with an attorney.
That's it.
So part of what I do offer on my website is a lot of legal education, right? So I'm trying to meet people where they are. Some stuff is free, right? Checklists and templates. I do a lot of webinars for free and workshops. And then there's also like, mama gotta buy some organic apples for a baby, so something needs to be charged, right? And so it is very hard to find a consult with an attorney in this area for under $350. If you find somebody in a law clinic who's still with the law, a law professor, so $497 may be too expensive, but not getting any legal consult and you are running a business that you're investing thousands of dollars and all of your time is priceless. Right? So you can decide to ride dirty and not have any attorney, which I get, right? But that's why I'm trying to meet folks at different price points. The contract education tool is $9.99, and I'm trying to make that very affordable and accessible.
So thank you.
Oh, sorry. Those are keys for my opinion.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question. This isn't gray around the benefit. The view, me and the clarity from you
Yeah.
is something that I easily understand. Is it possible, I don't know if you have time, but or at future presentations, you take the contract, put it in the system and let us see it. So that we can see the red, the yellow, and the green. And then we can say, oh, okay, now we have it. Because that's the question that I have. If I put in a 10-page contract or a 100-page contract, what is the red? Is it going to show me the risks? And then from there, I can meet with you. That's for the direct to consumer. For the B2B, is it possible that you use this as like a loss leader? That's the three-part, a law student. So you work with a small business development center and say, hey, I will provide legal advice to all your businesses that come in there.
Yeah.
And then but before I meet with them, it goes to contract assistance. They run their contract through there. And then you use that as, okay, this is the contract. You've already reviewed this by the time you sit with them. Then you already know where to go.
Almost like a filter.
As a filter, and if you do something like that, then partnering with an SBDC or an Inbox or a TechCo that has the similar kind of things is an easier lift because they're hiring you and you're using this as a framework.
Right.
Because if I put a contract in and I'm not a lawyer, I'm still not a lawyer.
Right.
Like you're the thing that I need. This helps, but I need you.
You definitely.
And I can't afford you, in most cases, I can't afford you.
So, I hear you on that, right? I also believe that people afford things that they prioritize. Yeah. Right? Some of y'all spending $50 a week on Starbucks, right? You multiply that times 4, save the Starbucks and talk to a lawyer, right? But I think you really hit the nail on the head for both things. I get that folks still, so yes, I like the SBDC idea, right? Almost pitching first you're saying the contract tool, and then me as like the reviewer that comes as a package, right?
Because they provide that. I mean, we're looking for that right now. We just got one law firm coming in for 2 other law firms next month.
I got one.
But, so, the contract piece as it's presented doesn't leave me with an understanding of what I get. Even at $9.99 or $999, I believe in what you're doing, and I believe if it's necessary, I'm gonna pay it, because I've been on the wrong end of bad contracts, right, and unwind myself from it. But the presentation, as it is,
Yeah.
I still don't know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And so if you were like, hey, here's that's
The
a
demo,
contract,
like
yeah.
a little-
Then we can see, like, oh, the red is gonna let me know what I need to be aware of, and then put yourself there. Or then you hire another attorney that comes in and does the contract review and the conversation so that you can still build the business. But organizations would be, that's an easier ask for organizations to hire than to say, hey, I want to use this contract. Because like you said, attorneys are not going to want to do it because attorneys won't be able to do that themselves. I'm telling you too much time.
Definitely wish that I could have the little video so y'all could have seen it and not just visualize it a little bit better. That is the conundrum, is that everyone feels like lawyers are too expensive and they cannot access them. So even before you speak to a lawyer, you're saying it's too expensive, right? And so this is,
Because it's too expensive.
It's a lot.
I hear you. It is part of the mythology, quite frankly, that you cannot afford a lawyer. Because you cannot afford not to have a lawyer. I've spoken to folks who are signing $600,000 contracts. No one's ever looked at it. And then you look, and then they turn around and say, oh, the client was discriminating against me and they refused to pay me. No, you signed a bad contract.
You're just not gonna get.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So that's why this tool, so to your point, like, one, I need to do more visual, it sounds like, so folks can obviously see it and be able to imagine it for themselves. And that's why it's priced where it is. The conundrum, as I meant, I can't remember, some of you came in a little bit later. I can't really get too much into legal advice because lawyers will come out of the sky and like shut my stuff down. It has to walk a fine line of being educational, right? Even review is probably a little bit sassy, but like contract reviewing. So, but I definitely hear you on your points with that, your question, yeah.
You answered most of the questions that I had already early on. I get what you're doing, and I think it's wonderful. I'd love to talk with you later on. I'm on the Leadership Council for the National Small Business, and SBA, so I'd love to get in contact with you later. But I have a question on the technical side. Sorry, I'm an engineer.
Yes, please.
So I'm wondering how you're balancing your CapEx. I'm presuming you are using an LLM. Are you using it internal? Are you using agents built on an external LLM? And how do you justify the CapEx so that you can continue running and providing the service in the future?
Yeah, so great question. So I am using an LLM in the background, right? And I do have a cap right now. It's like set at $20 to make sure that it doesn't go over. That can be adjusted accordingly, but it's honestly like cents, right? Even for a large contract. And so I would love to get to the problem of having to raise that and really adjust it. But when I did run the numbers, it balances out, which is why I'm really focused on the affordability aspect of it. I don't want to make it where it's like $2.99 and people are like, this isn't going to work, I'm not going to get anything from this, right? But also making sure that there's enough value for what folks are paying for, more value than what they're paying for. And part of it is to spark that, wow, this is more than I thought it was. Because oftentimes folks are looking at it like, oh, okay. And there's sometimes, don't get me wrong, there's some contracts where it's very simple. You do this, I'm gonna do that, everybody get paid on the second, and it's done. And then there are other contracts where there may be things you didn't think of that are really important, and now the questions allow you to go back and ask those questions and say, actually, I'd like to make sure that this is covered.
Well, my question, I don't mean to interrupt,
Sorry,
I
please.
apologize, but my question was more about the back-end engineering side,
Yeah.
because even when you are running simulations, the number of tokens that are generated can be very predictable. Well, once you start having people coming in,
Yeah.
that token generation, which can cause drift, which is actually going to start doubling and tripling that. Because a lot of people don't realize I can put in one sentence, I think that's one prompt. Well, that one sentence can end up being 10 or 15 prompts generating 100, 200, even 500 tokens. So how are you able to condition the system in your LLM, whether it's an in-house agent or one that you lease, to keep those costs low so you can continue to provide that service?
Yeah, that's a good question. I might have to get back to you on that, but it's not where someone puts in individual prompts in the system. They're just uploading their contract as is. And so that it's not necessarily where there's a back and forth. Once they're uploaded, it's a one run and done. They can always upload it again if they change it or so forth. But I think I might need to take a deeper dive. It sounds
I
like.
have done A/B testing with two file sizes that are the same, but completely different contracts to see what those results are, what the generation is, and what those costs are.
No, that's okay.
And that's the key thing that I think is important.
So you said same contract with different file size?
No, different contracts, same file size, different contracts, because depending on what the keywords are in there, what the weights are within the system, the LLM or the agent being used, can generate more or less tokens.
Gotcha. That's a great test to run, so thank you.
My 300-page LP contract is gonna flood your whole system. You're not gonna spit back anything.
So, okay, this has been really good, really energizing. We want to move on to commitments and offers. So we can wrap this up. We could be here all day, people. Let's go ahead and wrap this up.
I'm willing to stay all day.
Offers and commitments.
Yeah, I know you're a frontline soldier, so we're gonna connect after this, Keisha.
Yeah.
What's up?
Start connecting with me, and we can. I really want to see more of the operation, because I really think, again, I think you got two businesses. I think you got two business models, and I really think that is where some of the confusion is that one might be maybe community focused leaning, which is advocacy, and another one might be actually just a straight technology deployment. Really to figure out what your exit looks like in this technology space.
Thank you for taking all the questions. If your business model was open to using this as like a loss leader, but what you're offering are your services, your legal services, then I would be very interested in speaking with you and seeing how we can work together. Because I can put the clients in front of you, but what you're doing right now is just too much gray. But if you can connect the two, then I would love to talk to you about it.
Sure, let's connect. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Arthur. I'm connected with this.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to connect with you as well, as far as on the technology side. Again, I'm an engineer, I love what you're doing, and I see the benefits because going through 4 businesses, I've learned a lot over the last 40 years. And then helping other new businesses coming up. It's definitely a good service. So from a technical side, I'd love to connect with you and see what I can help out, at least with some, advising between, because I'm also trying to get our company off the ground. But I'd love to be able to connect and see some success for you.
Thank you. I'm a lawyer by trade, not a technologist, so I appreciate, all of the feedback and questions. Very helpful. It's, even though I've been in business with Justice Connection and building this legal resource platform, this legal education tool is very new. It's very different. So there is a balance between the two, so I really appreciate all of it.
So you had a video game, right?
Huh?
So you had a video game, didn't you?
Video games, we did DOD, we thanks, so. Sarne. That's what I'm always saying.
What was the offer? I didn't hear.
Market research,
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's it.
persona, deep dive.
All right, Adam, I make an offer?
Yeah. Hello. Sorry, I missed the first part of the, I'm so sorry. I just want to make sure, is this, the product is currently live?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. So then what I will commit to doing is there is a contract I signed with a client a few months back. I'll pay the $9.99.
No, it's actually now 9.
Yeah, I'll pay the $9.99. I'll throw the contract I've already signed, but I am curious, like, to see kind of how it aligns with my current understanding. And so, and then if it's helpful, I'm happy to provide feedback on what it looks like and how this, the feedback that I've gotten from this compares to kind of what I've gotten sort of going through the more like, talking to Claude for back and forth a bunch.
Yes. Cool. Well, Malcolm, I'm trying to pull up the website. Again, I apologize for not making it a lot clearer. But it's live now and it's free. So it's open. Everybody can run a contract through it and see if you like it. If you don't, tell me all the things you don't like or what happened. And I will wrap up because I know my time is up. But if you could just pull it up in the middle of me sitting down, it's so that I'm trying to get this, but it's not. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize all this screen. So this is the URL. Nothing much I'm doing here. I just wanted you to see the URL.
Okay.
Sorry, this was showing this.
Yeah, so.
So that's the
My
URL.
contract's not just
So it's free, you can go on there now and plug in, and then I would love to run your old contract, your new contract. Tell it's free, yeah.
Just a word of a thought.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't think you have to worry about it from anyone in this room, but this is currently live. Like, do you have a cap on? I think this goes back to the $20. Is that per?
It's gonna be okay.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. I've heard more stories. People who just have it auto refill.
Yes, it's not.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I don't hate money. But I appreciate this conversation. Make sure that I don't get to hold this like Thank you all very Thanks. Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move through that. So our next presenter is Martha Ayala with AI.
economics and software engineering, so I thought that with my skills, it would be so much easier to start a business and get into government contracts. Once I get all the license, the challenging part was getting contracts. And I have been into business for 2 years and it's still challenging to get into business and get into government contract. So GovAI is an AI-powered procurement platform created to help change. Yes, it is. There you go. So this is created by small business to help small business. So it's built to make sure that we help small businesses find relevant opportunity, understand complex solicitation, and make sure that they find confident bidding and faster. And then it was be able to make decisions quicker. Okay, so the problem. So the number of new businesses and federal contractors fell from approximately 23,000 in 2012 to 9,000 in 2010. Again, that's another 60%. So what SumGov today provides is information, but a broader, so I don't know if everybody knows here about SumGov, right? Over FedConnect. So today, if you're searching anything on SumGov, what happens is you get results that are expired or you awarded. It's just the filter by itself. It's very complex and it's really complicated for any small business or, for that matter, any business to be able to get into government contracting and be able to make that decision. So what we are doing is we're trying to make a simple and clear solution for small businesses to be able to, for them to make a decision and then pursue into some action, into money by creating a profile. So how do we prove GovAI paid value when SumGov is free? So this is designed to centralize federal, state, and local. So what we have done is we have pulled everything into one centralized place. And then businesses are allowed to create their own profile. So which means based on, we're not just asking the businesses their names and their EIN number or their location. But what we are doing is we are asking them for their capability statements, NIFS code, set aside, any certification, past performance. And if the past performance are already there, what we are doing is that if it's public information, we are pulling it for them. Because we don't ask, we ask for EIN number, we don't ask for tax ID or any personal information, Apple signing. But we ask for EIN number. And anything that is public on their EIN number, we pull it into the system. So they have their own dashboard. So basically what happens is for the business, any business within our tool can ask this 3 questions quickly. Is this opportunity relevant to my business? The next one is, are we qualified? Or is it worth pursuing? This is something that they can decide within minutes. And then with SumGov, this is, it's going to be, there are times that I have put in one use code and got in 20 minutes. So today, we are live. I'm really passionate about this work. The way that I got into it is actually, I do not consider it as acting. Initially, when I started it, it was to create a solution for myself. So I did not think this would be a business. And then, but I started interviewing users and especially successful businesses. And everybody said, I have the need for this. This is simple. This is user-friendly. So this is how I came about it. Currently, we just went live in June. We have 3 paid users. And we still have active, pretty much not just new, but we are getting a lot of feedback from mature businesses, so they're still active and we're still using them. And I have invested my own money, 180 grand, because I'm very passionate about this, and I really have the passion for it, and I know I have the vision for it and where it's going. So today we're in phase 1 where we are doing the bid or no bid decision. We're making that process easier. But we are also partnering with someone who has 35 years in fact experience building proposals. So what we are, the next phase is going to be helping them with proposal and then be able for small businesses to be able to get space and contracting, not just by connection, but volume. So we're hoping that if a business could, at least on average, be able to bid on 10 contracts a month, and then, within 3 months, they will have that. Yeah. So this is me.
Okay,
What
that's your big question.
Yes, yes, absolutely, I'm sorry. Yes, so where we are today. So our biggest challenge is our marketing strategy. So for us to be able to advertise the marketing part of getting our branding and marketing strategy, that is where our challenge is. As for the technology part, as the solution, as the problem, I am the living proof of the problem, and I have the solution. I am making research. We are continuously working day and night to come up with the best solution. So this is pretty much in production. And also, the other thing that we're looking for is data. Because in the other phase 2, what we're trying to do is, it's not just the proposal writing, but also be able to match-make them with the key personnel. So instead of paying for LinkedIn or Indeed, to be able to match-make them with just limited 3 or 4 or 1 key personnel, to be able to pull in that data from resources like, it could be the state, it could be from somewhere where, the state is paying individuals for employment. So that is where we are. Question. There you go. And this is my contact information.
All right, so you stay right there. Clarifying questions. Clarifying questions.
Hello. And thanks so much for the presentation. I was wondering, in terms of the platform, so you mentioned you're partnering with someone who's got like a lot of experience, doing contracts, writing contracts, that sort of thing. So is the thinking that like the system will not just like pull in all the same and make it easier from like a user experience perspective, but also like, I think you mentioned like, it'll kind of tell you what contracts might be worth pursuing based on your capabilities?
Yes.
Okay.
So, as basically think of the application as a dating app and social media. We're not going to match you. So if you're construction, we're not going to match you with anything that is IT. So everything that you'll be is based on your capacity statement, your needs code. So you would have your own dashboard. And then the other part of it is social media. So basically a dating app and social media together, but for businesses.
Okay, cool. So as a small business who like has no idea about what all the contract world looks like, the idea is to sort of make it easier to like kind of even know what's worth pursuing essentially.
Absolutely. So it's basically, it starts with helping you, making you with the right contract or with the right solicitation that applies for your business. And then the second part will be guiding you writing the proposals and then being able to make you with the key personnel and go on. So it's just to help basically so that businesses don't stop somewhere. They look at the solicitation, they get overwhelmed, and they stop somewhere. We don't want that. We want them to be able to get into, to be comfortable applying and then submitting.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So I love this idea, and what I love more about it is you're your own client, and you're super passionate about it, and you've invested time and resources into building this because you're addressing a real problem. So I love that. One of my questions is, around like, how do you make the determination? So like without obviously giving away any trade craft or anything like that, but you're saying that you'll tell me which contracts are worthwhile. Is that based on not just, for example, like my NAICS codes and things you might know about my business? Is it also based on the actual criteria in the proposal?
Yes, so basically what we're doing is we help you build your portfolio. So we ask about your business, so whatever, for example, you might have, if you're looking for federal, we all have this capability statement, you put in your capability statement, and then we look into that. So this is AI powered. And then what we are doing is, so even now, one of the challenges is the third parties that are writing proposals for businesses are using AI, and it has become very similar. And to the point that some agencies are saying they're getting something that is very similar. So with us, what we are doing is it's going to be customized because it is the solicitation that when we are proposing or when we are guiding you to write the proposals, it is going to be customized to your profile.
Yes, and so that's what I'm trying to clarify, because I get emails every day with opportunities from Emma, the Maryland-based system, that says this is a good match for me. But when I open it and I look at the actual procurement, I don't need like, maybe 30% of the criteria that would, so I'm not even eligible. So yes, it matched me, it's a marketing or a digital solution, but I'm not actually eligible to go after that bid. And so what I was asking is, does your tool actually, would it eliminate something that might match based on my capabilities? So I have the right capabilities to deliver those services, but I'm still not eligible to pursue.
You will not.
Okay.
So if you don't qualify, for example, and then we also give you the visual, and we give you your weaknesses and strengths, and then we also put it in percentage. So we score you, we score all the solicitation and your profile. So for example, if it is only for women, we're not going to match, or if it is press only, we're not going to match with another.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. One of the things that I've worked with a lot of government contractors, and one of the things that when it comes to these tools that help the small businesses determine whether it's a good fit for them or identifying opportunities. The two biggest challenges that they face is one, a lot of these tools are cost prohibitive. They're not cost effective for smaller businesses. And the second thing is we are now in an era of government contracting where your solo capabilities of your business is not good enough, right? Most RFPs these days, you're going to have to team, right? You're going to have to have partners. And so if your tool is searching for your business capabilities and matching that, it's going to miss a lot of opportunities there. So those were two things that I didn't hear you talk about, but I wanted you to know. Or to see if they're matching up with what you experienced.
Thank you. So for the first question, our pricing is way cheaper than that is out of the market. We are charging right now $99 a month. As for the capability statement, it is not just a capability statement. We are also looking into, we're also adding set aside, so in your profile that continuously you can change. So for example, if you have past performance, you can physically add that past performance. into the site, because we are also considering that. We're considering everything. We're considering your mixed score. We're considering your faculty team. We're also considering your satisfied. So as partnership and matchmaking with the subcontracts and the prime, that is something that we have in the pipeline. That is something that we want to do. Once we have the right, we have enough small businesses, the next step is to be able to bring in primes so that they can come to our site and be able, when they have a big contract, to be able to see the small businesses that are that they can just select. Whether it's construction, whether it's IT, whether it's education, all that.
This is a great business model, and it's definitely something that can go really far. I guess my question is, do you have the different phases that is just combined into this model, or is the $199 a month all in this? Because for me, just outside perspective, but I might not need to fully go through the entire system. Maybe I just want software to see the dashboard, to see the contracts. I can have connects in other aspects that help with different parts that you offer. I think this is a great opportunity to have essentially different layers of that to your business and offer even more premium subscriptions where when you do get that group of that tight-knit group of kind of aspects like direct process afterwards where you make a client into the little pile and they're considered the ideal tenant and maybe you're partnered with someone who would like to use them or you expand your business. I think that premium option would help you in financially profitability wise and establish trust as well.
These weird. It's $99, not $199.
Yeah, quick question regarding your, the rubric and scoring the contracts. One of the things that I find with a lot of my clients that are government contractors is that it's just a bad contract. It's underpriced, and the only way to actually really win on this is to really take a loss. How does your business kind of maybe help, how does the technology maybe help avoid that, kind of fill that gap, and do you maybe offer a recommendation or some sort to, you know, help folks in the bidding process as well?
Yes, we do help in the bidding process, but that is going to be working on constant. We're not, the technology is not going to help them. So what we do is we just present the opportunity and we make it easier for them to decide. But once they decide, we can help them through the process. We guide them, we capture this, basically being able to have the orders and the checklist and then for them to be, so the goal is for them to be able to submit. That's the first step. Because right now, just for, if you're looking at third-party agents, just a video no bid is like $1,300 to $2,000. And then they are going to help you write proposals and be able to help you to submit, and that goes up to $50,000. So, and then you may or may not win a contract. And then you ask them like, so what is the percentage of your success? They say you don't profit. So.
Just one more, thank you. I will tell you that, and I'm going to follow my colleague here around customer discovery. One of the things you have to do in order to start that is make sure that you're going out there having these conversations. I see that you had three people on the platform and they're paying customers. How many people did you talk to before you actually started building the platform?
Over 100.
Yeah, how many conversations? Have you gone with like an actor or something like that?
So pretty much every, I did, I sent out survey, but most of them was in-person conversation. And then even before we go live, the first thing that I did was I went out and I asked them like what could instantly progress that they're making based on their understanding their pain points, and then being able to say, for example, we have now, we just recently added where you can just click and be able to connect with the procurement officer, because we don't want to copy and paste and go to our email. So from just the platform, and then you can say like, is it, you know, the follow-up, is there a question, part-time question. So it's just we need the process simpler, because those are the kind of feedback that we get from business.
And this is the last thing, so my thought is, if you do something like Project Aspire, create something, when I didn't use it, we know that, and still use it. And so, the reason why I say this is not much, but I think early enough to make sure that you don't get caught in the Project Aspire. Because I've seen this, I actually worked with a company that was doing this, that was great, and creating, that you put your face in, your face code, and it would go out and you do it straight, data straight, with the same amount of some of these other government contracts, and then give you a score. And they lasted, they were, it's 5 years, along the line. So I hope that you want to get out ahead of this, so you really get to the point that where's the problem, not the solution, looking for the problem, where's the problem? And I would have you work in a space where people are like, oh, I just do that work. So it was the last time you actually talk to people now, oh, I don't do that. I'm not saying it's you, I think it's cautionary tale that, well, I used to be that, like, the world hasn't changed in 3 years, oh, okay, fine, be all out. And then they would end up in a space where the thing they built, nobody wanted. So this is cautionary.
All right, let's move on to feedback. Alright, so, because we kind of behind time, if you have feedback, you want to make your commitment or offer, let's do that. Alright.
So, quick cautionary comment in terms of feedback. You mentioned that the challenge was around branding. There's another product in the space called GovAI, and they own the domain. The more successful you become, in my experience, the more likely it is you're going to get a cease and desist from them, because it's not the same business and it's not the same customers, you're in the same space, and the likelihood of customer confusion is real. You have attorneys in the audience who might be able to speak to this more intelligently than I am, but it's something, when I see that, I immediately say something because you're early enough to change it inexpensively.
We actually have, it's actually GovAI icon.
But the domain doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And from my understanding of trademark law, like they can still issue a cease and desist and force you to change.
Yeah, so I was gonna, all I see is the contracts and the legal stuff. But you mentioned, help with the contract. And so, I guess some of my feedback was, I love the ideas of, someone mentioned partnering and having other aspects, like what are the benefits, and those things being differentiators maybe. And I'd love to talk with you about whether there's something related to contract review, right? Someone's getting a contract, and how it was mentioned before, that's usually where people get screwed, is it's a bad deal to begin with, and even when they get it. So I'd be happy to have a conversation about, providing some of that support, and then also just for the business, your business itself, if you haven't spoken to a lawyer around like if you have, awesome. If you haven't, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you around looking at everything from your name to your intellectual property and some of the secret sauce that you might be using and developed, and whether that's something that you also might be able to protect. And then the other thing that was mentioned around, June mentioned around ventures, and that being so critical for small businesses, and whether that's, again, another differentiator that's like, hey, we see TT and Lily and both of you together match this, even though you don't match separately, right? And that joint venture is also something that is critical to have legal support around, because it's all good in the beginning, and then, once that money hits, it's like, well, I thought I was getting 42%, right? And so that's where you, as the initiator, if you will, of all this information, want to make sure not only are you secure, but that perhaps you are putting your customers in the best posture to be secure as well, as a part of the package of this $99 a month and so forth. So just willing to have that conversation, and then also for the business and the contract piece as well. Keisha Brown. No. I think she's right.
Good morning, I'm Maurice Kelly. I'm the former representative officer who will work on you in the field. My offer is, I know you have someone that can work for the past 35 years. to say that. My offer is to connect, give her a piece of feedback, and share insights.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, once again, I love the product. This is definitely like, I'm working, or starting a business in the IT field, and from, sort of audits and that sort of thing, but also kind of building out custom apps and things. And so contracts, it feels like that's like very, very natural fit for that sort of thing, like to expand into that space. And so I was a bit of feedback. I was thinking, I was looking at the website really quick, and I didn't see this. Maybe I just skimmed it quickly, but I was just curious, like regarding, like I'm totally new to this space. I think that having those tools to be able to, know what contracts we're going after and everything is amazing. That's really cool. What would be interesting as well from a total newcomer would be like sort of like some educational materials. Okay, you're looking to go after a government contract. Here are some sort of good things to know. Here are some like easy to make mistakes. Just to save a lot of time and effort. I feel like, especially if you've got, a lot of experience, someone on a team who's got like, that to me feels like something that could be really valuable. In addition to these tools, is just to have like kind of one place I can go to sort of enter into that pipeline of like learning how to kind of hook into the federal government. The other thing, this may be scope here, apologize, but just a thought. There are 10 million things entities that offer contracts. I think right now, just focusing on the federal government probably makes sense because they have like, their own huge ecosystem. But there's every single city and whatever else has their own like contracting, like RFPs, all that stuff. And so something to think about down the line might be like, the interesting to me at least, would be like, maybe you pay a bit more and you have access to like everything kind of within a certain area around you, right? So like maybe you see like every single town and I don't know. Once again, might be tricky, might be scope creep, might be better to keep it a lot more polished. But that is something that I think could be interesting. It's like if I plug in all these details as a user, and just every single opportunity in like a 50-mile radius or something that like is a perfect fit for me, and it just scans like hundreds or thousands of organizations' pages. And I imagine like, I know that that's not like, as a software developer, I know that that's like, not like trivial, but my thought is, especially as you grow and as you scale, if you do one scrape, one whatever, API call, whatever you need to do to get that data, that's amortized over every single user you have. Because then you have all of everything available associated with every single entity in the area, and then any user that wants access to that data brings that cost down of having done that. So just that.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of things that we are considering as readiness as the first one, right? So we just want to make sure that businesses are ready, meaning they're set with their credentials, their registers on that top or in. So that is one thing that we want to incorporate because that's also a big piece. And yes, right now we have placeholders to be international, federal, but anything else on that top, everything is great. And we'll have OCPs, and we have MON, and we also have Virginia.
Hello, you're professor of business at University of College of Business. I am here to our keep it simple. I actually had a class of seniors I'm teaching a course on entrepreneurship and ventures. Part of my being connected with because I want my students to have a little bit of experience. And so the offer here, that's the thing I'd love to talk to you in other folks here. I would love to connect my seniors to, and I'm not sure myself, more real-time business on a specific problem over the course of this semester. So let's talk, let's define an opportunity, a small research area or a problem statement or a portion of what you're working with. And I'd love for you to come work with a portion of my class. And we'll work with other professionals here as well. To get them that experience, and then you at the end of it get a report. And I'm coaching with over 20 years of management consulting experience with Accenture and other large firms. So I'd love to make that as an offer for you and all the other business leaders here.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. Thank you, thank you.
So Jeremy's sort of jumping down here, but that is something that we do want to offer to the community. He is, as he said, he's teaching these seniors how to work with small businesses, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that ecosystem stuff. But any more offers? Not hearing any? Thank you so much, Martha. Excellent. All right, let's get through this. All right, so this is exactly it. So we got a few things coming up in the ecosystem. Actually, this was today, probably late. But the Strive for 35 webinar by FSC First, where you can get up to 100,000 webinars going on. Like, oh no, it's going on at 11. It's 11 o'clock today. So I sent it, the link to it in the email. If you guys are on our mailing list, it's in the email. So that happens at 11 o'clock. We got Spark sessions. That's our action planning session that's happening September 16th. Get your plan ready for fourth quarter and get momentum into the first quarter. That's coming. I'll be facilitating that, and I think we'll have 2 other facilitators as well. So sign up for that. That's also in the email. We got CommunityCon that's coming up September 19th in the Bowie Library parking lot. So I'm going to be a speaker there. Joe Claire is hosting. There's some other people that will be in there. That's, I think, if you're doing business in this area, it's probably good to go to that. We got Monisha's book signing on the 23rd. That's going to be here, right? Monisha is here?
Yeah, it's gonna be here at Venture X,
What
5 to
time?
7, yeah.
7?
Yeah, I gotta send out the invites and all that, but yeah, it's gonna be here, 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
Tim Bond, who is the publisher who I think you guys will love, and for those of you that are interested in using, because I think books is a great way to build authority if you're a business owner. I think you'll love Tim. He's great to work with. Super passionate about this work, and so we're just gonna have a fireside chat. We'll talk about how this whole book came to be, because I was not convinced that my story was a book, because I'm a storyteller, not a writer, and so Tim and I partnered on that. So if you're interested in that, and we'll also be sharing more details about our podcast studio, which will be coming online here at Venture X as well. So those of you, again, that are interested. So again, all this is stuff you guys said you wanted. So we're trying to provide these wraparound services to companies that are interested in building a brand. So we'll be talking a little bit more about the podcast studio that's coming online next month. So for those of you that are interested, and if you are interested, I'll send a link so that you can sign up, because we only have 8 slots available per week. And so people who have recurring series are going to fill up those slots first. And again, if you don't know anything about podcasting, we're also providing consultations and other services, pre and post production. Because again, if you want a quality product, that's part of it. We're offering those services as well. So if you're interested, I'll send a link for Malcolm if you're interested in signing up for some of those services and just telling us what you might be interested in. If you just want the space, the equipment will be there and you know what to do. But if you need help actually building a brand and a platform, we have experts who can work with you on that as well.
All right. Then we got the Heart Standard reveal. That's next week. So Sal's going to be doing that, and I think she has. So you'll be presenting earlier that day, and then you'll also have the reveal later on. So awesome. Anything else going on in the community that you guys want to share? Share time. Nothing? Awesome. Okay, so Spark Sessions, Mr. QR code if you want to sign up for it. We'll be here on the 16th, 2 hours, 12 to 2. We're going to be action-packed. You walk away with your plan for your business to move your business forward. 20 seats left. Actually, I think we got 3 signups already, so that's not quite accurate. $40 investment, so we will have lunch for that. So sign up for that if you're ready. You can read through all the stuff, cut through the noise, leave with a written plan. This is biased towards action. So one of the things that Monisha and I talked about was this idea that we get in these spaces and we kind of think about a business, but we don't actually do anything, right? And so this is a intentional space where you walk away with an action plan. So not only are you thinking about it and thinking deeply about your business, but once you walk out of it, you have the milestones. Now, it's still up to you to execute on that plan, but at least you'll have it. All right? Yeah.
I'm having trouble scanning. I was just wondering, does this go to the Google form?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if you, going through the email, I was curious because the Google form I think didn't have a place to do the $40. Is that something
that's coming next?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is a 2-step process.
No, I just want to make sure that I'm like good to go.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? No more questions? All of our socials, if you don't already have them, here they are. We're on all of them. I think, Monisha, do you know where we are in terms of followers on YouTube? Because we need 100.
Yeah, last time I checked is in the 30s, so we do need, so you do it, and then tell a friend, and then tell a friend, and tell a friend. So we should be able to, because even just based on the people that are engaging with the content, but keep in mind, this platform is for you guys, right? So the reason why we're live streaming, the reason why we're trying to expand the audience is based on your feedback. This is a way for people who can't be in the room physically to be in the room. It's also a way for you to share about what the great things that you're doing with your businesses. And so the more people that see it, obviously the more people can become aware of you, your business, and what you're doing. So we do need your help because YouTube is changing the requirements. So funny. Trying to squeeze the little guys. So all these content creators that are making a lot of money on these platforms are now trying to up the ante on the number of viewers you have to have and the number of followers that you have to have. And so there's a minimum of 100 just to be able to live stream. So right now, with our distribution partner, EDC, we're able to live stream and we can upload the video content, but we can't do that until we get at least 100 followers. And so we try to offer a lot to you guys, and so I think it's a really small ask for you guys to support us in this way because it's really for you anyway. It's your platform. So we want more people to know about 1 Million Cups, and we want more people to engage with you and learn more about the great things that you guys are doing here.
Yeah. So if you have content, video, and stuff like that, you can send it to us. We'll post it. All right. So here's a great thing. So you're already following us. Here are ways you can post your story. You can share a win, tag a founder, post a recap. Today was actually interesting because there was a lot of energy and conversation around Keisha's platform, and normally we're pretty tighter, but it's good. It's good.
I will be posting on LinkedIn. So.
Okay, yes. And then you can also invite friends. So these are, if you want to just copy and paste those, these are great ways to share online. Then, as we said before, Michelle Nicole is presenting next week. We're looking for another presenter. Actually, I have some meetings with other potential presenters, so we haven't locked in the second presenter just yet. But nonetheless, we're still going to be here. Actually, I won't be here. Mike will be facilitating next week, and Monisha will take a break. All right. So again, you guys will always do this. Some good advice today, but I really enjoyed hearing the energy around the commitments as well as just the giving of yourselves, right? So I think we talked about this before, like, I don't get paid to do this, right? Like, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I want to see grow in our community. So the fact that you guys show up every week giving of yourself is sort of reflective of myself, and I enjoy that tremendously, right? So again, you guys are opening doors, you're inclusive, this culture has been amazing. I'm so proud to see this happening every single week. Thank you again. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going until next week. All right.